Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season, and it's getting closer to playoff time here. So here's a few players I will look to add, and they can help your fantasy team this week and hopefully the rest of the season. The first guy, Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Rasmussen almost got a perfect game in his latest outing yesterday versus the Baltimore Orioles. Going 8 1/3 in that one hit, a run, 7 Ks, a quality start. So he was perfect through 8 1/3 in that one. So right now on the season for Rasmussen, 99 innings and 4 record, 3 hits, 31 earned runs, 25 and 5 quality starts on the season with a 2.66 ERA and a 1.12 whip. So Rasmussen, he's been a pretty decent pitcher this season here for the Tampa Bay Rays. And this Ray team, they always find a way to be in contention no matter who's on the team or who's in the starting rotation. The last few games here for Rasmussen haven't been great until this near-perfect game, August 2nd versus Toronto. 6 innings in that one, got the loss. 6 hits, a run, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. August 7th at Detroit, 3 innings in that one. No decision, no hits, no runs, 2 Ks in that one. He left the game early. And then August 14th, like I mentioned, he had that almost perfect game, 8 1/3, got the win versus Baltimore. Hit a run, 7 Ks, a quality start. So his next outing will be later in the week here for Rasmussen. I know he's not available in many fantasy leagues, but after almost a pitch-perfect ball game here for him, he should be owned in more than 64% of leagues. He's available right now in 36% of leagues, and I definitely will give him an ad this week, and he should be owned in at least 75% or more leagues. The next guy's called Quantrill of the Cleveland Guardians. So Quantrill, it's been an up-and-down season here for him, but he's starting to get things together over the last few weeks. On the season, 130 innings, 9-5 record, 124 hits, 53 earned runs, 35 walks, 86 Ks, 12 quality starts with a 3.67 ERA and a 1.22 whip. But over the last few weeks here for Quantrill, 19 innings, 2-0 record, 10 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 15 Ks, 2 quality starts, a 1.89 ERA and a 0.63 whip. So Quantrill, one of the better pitchers in this Guardian staff. And he's been going out there and pitching good versus good hitting teams as well over the last couple of weeks. August 6th versus Houston, 6 innings, got the win. 3 hits, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. August 12th at Toronto, 7 innings, got the win. A hit, 7 Ks, a quality start for him. So right now, Quantrill's still available in 49% of fantasy leagues, and that's surprising to me that he's almost 50-50 available and owned in fantasy leagues, where I think he's another guy that should be owned in a lot more leagues. He's got a good ERA. I know he's not on a great team this season with the Guardians, but at least they go out there and compete, and they do get some wins from time to time. But with 2 masterful outings versus Toronto and Houston, 2 legit hitting teams here, he's definitely a pitcher I look to add this week. The next guy, Tommy Henry of the Arizona Diamondbacks. On the season here for Henry, 17 1/3, 2-1 record, 7 hits, 8 earned runs, 8 walks, Ks, quality starts. Tommy Henry, he called up a couple weeks ago here for this Diamondback team. And we know this Diamondback team's not going anywhere, but one of the top prospects in their system over the last few seasons. He's still available right now in a whopping 94% of leagues. August 3rd at Cleveland, 5 innings in that one, got the loss. 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. August 9th versus Pittsburgh, 7 innings, got the win in that ball game. 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. And August 14th at the Rockies, 5 1/3, got the win. 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. So Henry, he's been decent so far in the first 3 outings of his major league career with the 4.05 ERA and a 1.20 whip. I know he's in a tough division with the Dodgers, Padres, and the Giants, who are around 500 this season here, where he's not going to get many wins. Diamondbacks, we know, one of the worst teams in the National League this season, but Henry's an intriguing prospect and a guy who could go out there and help your fantasy team, and I would give him an ad this week. The next guy, Brady of the Kansas City Royals. I've been mentioning Singer a lot over the last month here, and I know Kansas City's one of the worst teams as well in the American League, but right now still available. 44% of fantasy leagues here is Singer. On the season, 104 innings, 6-4 record, 92 hits, 38 earned runs, 25 walks, 107 strikeouts, and 8 quality starts on the season here for Singer. And over the season, a 3.29 ERA and a 1.05 whip. So he's going out there and he's getting the job done. I know it's not been the greatest of hitting teams over the last couple games before this one versus the Dodgers yesterday, but he's still going out there, He's pitching good baseball. I know he's on a team not giving him a lot of run support, but he is in a weak division over there in the AL Central. Besides the White Sox and Twins, not much going on. Guardians are hit or miss, and Detroit's hit or miss as well. So the last few games here for Singer, August 3rd at the White Sox, 6 innings, got the loss. 11 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 3 Ks in that one. August 9th versus the White Sox again, though. He bounced back, 7 in the third, got the win. 5 hits, a run, 6 Ks, a quality start. In August 14th versus the Dodgers, 6 innings, got the win. A hit, 3 walks, 7 Ks, a quality start. So he's going out there, Singer, and he's been one of the better pitchers in fantasy baseball over the last couple weeks here. Is Singer pitching good baseball, going deep into ball games, and even his strikeouts have gone up from last season to this season per inning, with almost pretty much a strikeout an inning Singer is doing this year. So right now, still available in a decent amount of leagues at 44%. I know he's not going to be available on a lot of teams' waiver wires, but he's a guy that should be owned in 70% of fantasy leagues or more as well. The next guy, Dustin May, the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Dustin May, he's going to make his season debut next week here, is May, August 20th coming up. So May last season, it was a short season for him with the Tommy John, and now he's coming back to the best team in baseball and getting in that starting rotation versus the Marlins August 20th. So obviously he's going to be on a pitch count, is Dustin May, the first few starts of the season here for him. But they're going to try to build them up, obviously, for a playoff push, is this Los Angeles Dodger team. And the more pitching, the merrier. You can never have enough pitching in this league here. And I think he can help fantasy owners as well. He's on a good team. They're going to give him run support. And Dustin May, he really does have good stuff. I know it's going to take time for him to be 100% and back to the levels he was, obviously, after coming off the huge Tommy John injury last season. But right here, I think he can help fantasy teams in 10 and 12 team leagues. And right now, out there in 44% of leagues, so this would be the time to get him before it's too late if he has a couple good outings and you're out of luck picking him up on your fantasy team. The next guy's Rowan Wick of the Chicago Cubs. So Wick, he looks like the guy over there for save opportunities in Chicago. On the season, 48 innings, 3-5 record, 7 saves, 58 hits, 21 runs, 21 walks, 50 Ks, 2 blown saves, 3.94 ERA, a 1.65 whip. But over the last few weeks here for Wick, since he's been in the closer role with Robertson getting traded to the Phillies, 5 2/3, 1-0 record, 3 saves, 4 hits, a walk, 7 Ks, no ERA, 0.88 whip. So right now he's going out there. He's closing the door in these ball games. And he's available right now in 65% of fantasy leagues. So for a guy who's going to be a second or third closer, I think he's a decent ad. Obviously, we know the Chicago Cubs, one of the worst teams in the National Leagues. And there's not going to be tons of save opportunities. But the ERA is good. The whip is good. And he's getting the job done right now. So I would go out there and give Rowan Wick an ad this week. The next guy is José Suarez of the Los Angeles Angels. So Suarez, surprising to me, he's still out there in 92% of leagues on the season, 62 1/3, 4-4 record, 59 hits, 28 runs, 27 walks, 61 strikeouts. I know only one quality start, but a 2.57 ERA, a 1.10 whip in the last couple weeks here for Suarez. 12 innings, 2-0 record, 7 hits, 4 walks, 13 Ks, a quality start, 0 ERA, and a 0.92 whip. So right now, available in tons of fantasy leagues. I actually picked him up in a few as well here. I know he's on a bad Los Angeles Angel team. That's not going to give you much run support. But as long as he's going out there and pitching decent ball games and getting the job done in terms of ERA, innings pitched, and a low whip, why not add him to your roster? The last ball game for him, August 8th at Oakland, 7 innings, got the win in that one. No runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks, a quality start. And his next outing will be versus the tough Seattle Mariners August 16th. But I think Suarez is up to it. And there's not a lot of good lefties in the league here. So a lot of teams don't see lefties. And Suarez is at least serviceable. So right now in deeper leagues, if you want to take a shot with him, I think he's worth the shot. And if he struggles, then you go out there and just drop him again off your roster. But I think he's worth an ad this week. The next guy, Drew Smyly of the Chicago Cubs. So Smyly, he came back recently, and he looked pretty good as Smyly over the last few weeks. On the season, 70 2/3, 5-6 record, 74 hits, 29 runs, 17 walks, 61 Ks, 2 quality starts, a 3.69 ERA, 1.29 whip. But over the last couple weeks here for Smyly, He's really hitting the zone. 11 and 2/3, 2-0 record. 9 hits, 3 walks, 13 Ks. A quality start. No ERA and a 1.03 whip. So right now, available in 90% of fantasy leagues here is Drew Smyly. And I know he's on a bad Cub team, but that division, to be honest, besides the Cardinals and Brewers, there's not much going on and not good hitting teams in that division over there in the NL Central. So right now, the Pirates, they're not doing anything this season. They're struggling once again in one of the worst teams. I know the Cubs are as well, but you got the Reds too. Those two teams are worse than the Cubs, in my opinion. So the last few games here for Smyly, August 6th versus Miami, 6 and 2/3, got the win. 5 hits, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality start. And August 11th at Cincinnati, 5 innings, got the win. 4 hits, 2 walks, 9 Ks. So right now, his next outing's another good matchup. August 17th at Washington, where I think Smyly could go in there and do a good job. So right now, available in 90% of fantasy leagues. He'll help you with some strikeouts. He'll go 5-6 inning pitcher. I know that's what he's going to do. But right now, he's taking advantage of weak hitting teams, and that's what you want this late in the season, to find a diamond in the rough or two that can help you in the playoff push and possibly help you win the whole thing. So right now, that's what I would categorize Drew Smyly in this week. The next guy, Ian Kennedy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mentioned Kennedy as an ad last week, and once again, I'm going to mention him as an ad. Available in 73% of fantasy leagues. So right here on the season for him, 39 and a third, 4-5 record, 8 saves, 33 hits, 13 earned runs, 15 walks, 35 strikeouts, 3 blown saves, a 3.02 ERA and a 1.23 whip. So Kennedy, if you need a closer, he could get you some saves. I know the Diamondbacks aren't good this season here, where there's not going to be many save opportunities here for Ian Kennedy. But like I mentioned with Wick, as a second or third closer, you can't go wrong. The ERA's been good. He's getting some opportunities over the last couple weeks, and we know he's going to be the man the whole season unless he starts struggling or he gets injured. But right now, if you're looking for saves, the two guys to get this week's Rowan, Wick, and Ian Kennedy. And right now, he's available, like I mentioned, in 73% of leagues. And the final pitcher I looked at this week's George Kirby of the Seattle Mariners. I've mentioned Kirby a lot over the last few weeks here, and he's one of the top prospects this season coming up as a starting pitcher. On the season, 85 innings, 4-3 record, 90 hits, 32 runs, 12 walks, 86 Ks, 7 quality starts, a 3.39 ERA, a 1.20 whip, and over the last few weeks here, he's kicked it into gear, 15 and 2/3, 2-0 record, 17 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 20 Ks, a quality start, a 2.87 ERA, and a 1.21 whip. So right now, Kirby and this Mariner team playing great baseball this season. Took care of business last week versus the New York Yankees. And like I mentioned, I don't know why this guy's still available in 51% of leagues. I know he's going to have growing pains as a rookie, but he goes out there, pitches pretty good. He's going to keep the ERA down for the most part. Decent strikeout pitcher. And I would add him in 12-team leagues or deeper for sure, and probably 10-team leagues as well. July 31st to Houston, 4 innings in that one, no decision. 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 Ks. August 6th versus the Angels, 6 innings, got the win. 6 hits, a run, 8 Ks, a quality start. And August 12th at Texas, 5 2/3, got the win. 7 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. So right here, George Kirby's pitching good baseball over the last few games. And he's got another good matchup August 17th at the Angels. And it's just surprising to me he's out there in that many fantasy leagues at 51%. He's on a good team. He's pitching good baseball. And he can help fantasy owners. So that's a few pitches I look to add here for Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season.